Welcome to the Transition Alliance of South Carolina's video learning opportunity on web-based work experience resources. At this time, I'd like to introduce you to your presenter, Dr. Jennifer Wall.
Hello, good morning. Thank you guys so much for joining us to learn more about resources for work experience that are available on our website. I just want to say that while we have compiled a lot of resources and they're available not only on our website, but on a new document that we've created, if there's something specific that you guys are looking for to help meet a transition goal or, something transition in general, please let us know. We are more than happy to help. But today we're going to talk specifically about the resources that we have on our website that can help you with work experience. So within all of the slides of the presentation, we do have hyperlinks to the exact place that I'm talking about and a screenshot. And at the end of the presentation, Mike is going to show a small web tutorial, I guess, kind of show you how to get to the places on the website to help you guys out a little bit. But this is the work experience instructional resources that are available. So the idea of this was to be a one-stop shop for work experience resources. And so if you guys are like us, you're getting daily emails for virtual tours or virtual websites, and it can become really overwhelming. So our idea was really to, keep things together. So there's a new banner on the top of our website that says virtual learning resources. So if you guys are sharing things with us, or we find something that will help you, or we talked about it Tuesday at our webinar, or today, we're trying to organize all those resources in that one document. So it's easier because we know that you guys do not have a ton of time. So one of the first resources that are on this instructional resource is the building blocks model. If you've never used the building blocks model, it's based on a tiered framework, and each one of the building blocks represents a competency or a cluster of related skills, and it has the knowledge and abilities that affect employment. What's really cool about the building blocks model is that you can make your own building block. You can use components that you design your own tiers, or you can just use the ones that are there on the website. So tier 1 for all of the building blocks is personal effectiveness. And those are skills that students need for any job that they may be looking at. And you can go to the next slide, that's fine. Things like interpersonal skills and professionalism. But then when you get to the industry specific tier, that's when it's based on the competencies that are very specific to a particular occupation or organization or even region. So see here, there are many areas that are covered. Honestly, almost every resource that we're going to look at today, or any resource out there, they're organized by clusters and pathways, and they're all very similar. Sometimes it's difficult for us to find, specific information on jobs. I really like this website. If you click on, you can go to the next slide. If you click on a specific industry, like for example, food and beverage service, so you would just click what we saw there. This is a screenshot of the site, and then the next slide shows you the food and beverage service competency model. I think this is really awesome because there are specific competencies to go align with each individual thing, and they go into great detail on the website. Like it breaks it down into, well, see, these are your interpersonal skills. Remember how I said tier 1 was personal effectiveness? So you'll see that on your screen. But when you dive into these resources, like for example, the bottom tier where it's like very specific. For food and beverage, one of the kitchen equipment guides had how to use a knife, how to carefully store a knife, how to use the knife sharpener, how to clean those things. And it's so very helpful because these are specific skills that our students need. And I know that we are trying to do things virtually. So, you know, you're picking out these components and you could make a checklist of things that the students, you know, could do at home, or videos that they could watch that all align to these, you know, specific things. And one thing that I think is beneficial that we can do through this time is use some of the transition assessment data that we have, or transition assessment tools that we have. And really, you know, the kids can explore some of things and videos and resources and then say, hey, I really like this. Hey, I really want to learn more about this, or no, I didn't like this at all. And so that helps us with that transition assessment data that maybe, you know, we wouldn't be able to dive in as deep as we, you know, could in the classroom with simulation. So the next resource is Overcoming Obstacles. And if you just saw the name, you would have no idea that this had anything to do with work experience. And so it's super easy. You register and immediately you have access to all of the resources. They don't ask for your credit card number or anything. It's completely free, and they haven't sent any emails, and I signed up a while ago. So basically, you log in, say what area that you're looking for. They do have middle school and high school curricula. They're designed to help build confidence and teach employability skills. And we know that self-determination is one of the single most important skills that we can teach our students. I think it's really cool that they have packaged this curriculum into starting off with confidence and then working their way through all the employment skills. So if you click on the link, it takes you directly to the website where you would have to register. Like I said, it's super easy. And so then you click on the curriculum that you're looking for. Here on the screen is just a screenshot of what it looks like. Each one of the modules has between 3 and 6 very detailed lesson plans that include objectives. Some of the, it is amazing. And some of the modules go into, you can go to that one. That one's fun. I like specifically this one's confidence building. So here's the 5 lesson plans. And these are not like lesson plan nuggets. That's what I called like when somebody just gives you ideas. These are like detailed lesson plans. And so one of the things I was thinking about when I was thinking, you know, if I was teaching students and I didn't have a lot of time with them online, what are some activities that I would have them do when we weren't together, you know, virtually face to face? And so I was thinking about a journal. You know, what are things that kids could journal? Well, in this curriculum, each individual lesson gives you very specific, so it has 2 things at the end of the lesson. It says a journal activity and then a technology activity. So in the communication module, the journal activity, it goes through active listeners and how to use that on the job, etc. Well, then the journal activity has the student think about a time that someone was not listening to them. Could be a peer, could be a parent, teacher, whatever. And, you know, when you're thinking about when that happened, how did you know that person wasn't listening to you? And then how did that make you feel? So then the student is thinking about the things that you've probably taught them within that lesson. Well, the technology piece for that exact lesson is to watch an episode of a talk show. So during the day, when all these amazing talk shows are on TV right now, they could watch one and then they could look at the behavior of the host. are they actively listening? Do they interrupt the person? How are they looking? How do they engage in this? And so then they're, using these activities to build on the things that you've learned. And so, while this is, great information, it is also activities that are already built into these modules for teachers to go ahead and start using to teach these skills. So with the confidence builder, that one is one of the first lessons or first modules, and it really dives into developing personal power and helping teach self-determination. And instead of calling it self-determination or self-advocacy and standing up for themselves, it really talks about giving yourself power and how do you know when someone has power and what is confidence. And, it has those same journaling activities and, a technology component for every single one. So, it is really awesome. This is all 11 of the modules that are on the high school curriculum. Like I said, each one do have between 3 and 6 very detailed lesson plan. The last thing here says Service Learning Handbook. So within the Service Learning Handbook, it goes through how to plan and implement a service learning project in your community. And the Service Learning Handbook is based on the 11 modules. So whenever you're making a decision of which project, it sends you back to the information you had learned previously. And so while we may not be implementing service learning projects right now, the students can think about, what's a way we could help our community when this, is over? What are things that we can do to help people? What are things that we can do? A service learning project could be write letters to the folks that are in the nursing homes to, brighten their day and, plan out some really cool activities. And while we may not be able to do them right now, the students have, made a plan to do these things, and they use these modules to help prompt them along. So the next resource is, we'll go within this PowerPoint, we go back to this same slide a lot just so that you can see where the resources are linked to. It's super easy to find all of this on our website. We've tried really hard to make it user friendly. If you've never used Skills to Pay the Bills, this is the time to do it. I love this project. It was the Department of Labor, Office of Disability Employment Policy. They developed this resource years ago in collaboration with, they had a panel of educators and a lot of industry folks. And really the problem in the workforce was soft skills. And it had nothing to do with it being someone's first job or being their 5th job. There was no age range. It was just simply a need across the nation to teach people soft skills. So they developed this instructional package, and it's called Skills to Pay the Bills, Mastering Soft Skills for Workplace Success. And so it has, if you want to go to the next slide, it'll show, oh, that's just the screen. That's what it looks like whenever you click onto the website. That it's a packet, the whole it's a PDF document, and it has lessons on communication, enthusiasm, attitude, teamwork, networking, problem solving. It's really an awesome package. If you've ever heard me talk about that curriculum before, it's really, I really like the nonverbal communication and body language parts where it shows emojis and communication with, different body language. And that's really important right now, I think, because we're not spending a lot of time with our students, but we're going to communicate with them maybe virtually through email. And so whenever we're sending emails on the job, what language are we using? And one problem that I know that I have with my teenage children is they really love the text talk. And so Pacer Center has made some really cool videos that align with all of the Skills to Pay the Bills video lessons. And so the one that you see on the screen is actually really funny, because this girl is working in a cafeteria style like lunchroom, and everyone that comes through the line, she only speaks in text talk. So on the top, like, talk to you later, just kidding, rolling on the floor, but everything that comes out of her mouth is text talk. And it becomes really comical in the video because you have no idea what she is even trying to communicate with her customers. And the boss comes over and has a little chat with her. But this is a great thing for students to see, because this is something that is part of how they communicate with their peers, but it is not a job skill. This is not something that they, should take on the job, and they could point out, the things that she does that are inappropriate. And it could be a good, way to have a conversation with our students about communicating through email and communicating, through written communication doesn't include these things. And the videos are really short. It's only like 2 minutes, 3 minutes. And so definitely doesn't, take too much of their time. And as you see, these were made in 2012, but I'm telling you, all of the lessons and all of the videos are very appropriate to right now. Okay, so the next thing that we're going to look at, and this is an idea that came out of Tuesday's webinar, actually. So most people, if they're going to have some virtual instruction or telephone instruction, or however your district has decided to provide instruction right now, you're going to send something home. Could be an email, could be a packet, who knows, code of conduct of how this is going to all work, but you could add some transition assessments within that packet so that the students are doing some kind of, assessment, learning, or you get it to them so that they're filling that out as part of the packages that you're going to do over the next weeks. But anyway, if you click on that link on our website, it takes you to all of the grade levels. And so we have organized all of the transition assessments into packets for 9th grade, 10th grade, 11th grade, 12th grade. I'm not saying that you need to send the entire packet home, because it is, a lot of information. We tried to cover all areas of transition with those assessments. So pick out the ones that you like. It's appropriate for your, students and grade level. We just tried to make it user-friendly by organizing them by grade, and we had help across the state of teachers who were already working on these. So other things that are on our website around transition planning is the toolkit. I'm not going to go into detail about all of the things that are on the screen. Just wanted to let you know that all of those resources are there. So whenever you come back, to your formal planning, all of your resources are organized neatly on our website. Okay, so the next one that we're going to look at is the school-based enterprise. And while I know it really stinks that we're not in school right now, because so many of you guys are operating amazing school-based enterprise, it's one of my favorite parts of my job is to see all the students implementing all of these really cool things across the state. And now they're at home and they can't do it. But one thing that they can do is they can go to our website too, and they can look at all of the ideas that are in our school-based enterprise portal, and they can think if that would be appropriate for their school or their community and how they could implement that at school. Or one of the things I was thinking about this morning was, so many of our students want to run their own business one day. This is a great time for them to write a business plan and start looking at Etsy, because, people are always that are super crafty, and I'm not crafty, but they'll say, ooh, you should sell that on Etsy. Ooh, you should sell that on this place or that place. Well, if you start investigating how much you have to pay each of those sites, what is your profit margin and how much money are you actually going to make? So this is a good opportunity to look at the school-based enterprise portal, pick out some things that the students are interested in, what's something that they could turn into their own business, and then they could research, how to actually do all of that. So they're still getting some of that, work experience and thinking through all of this and, using that information, because they may have a super cool idea that you can use as a school-based enterprise in the future. And so it's a good use of time to do those things. Now, the next slide shows, this is the bottom of that same page on our website. It says online work experience resources. So these are all centers or places that have put together resources for us in South Carolina that are specific around work experience. And so we organize those. It's on the same page. And so they have very specific links to other websites with resources. So the first one is South Carolina Works. If you've never used this website, please spend some time looking at it, because it is really, really awesome. The online services for looking for a job are on this website. It's really good if you're a job seeker or you're an employer. And the next steps for getting jobs. If you want to go to the next slide, it's just a screenshot of what the site looks like. But so the student would pick, I'm a job seeker, and then the amount of things that they can do from there. They can get help writing a resume. They can click on so it has a map of South Carolina, and it has all of the districts and kind of areas of the state. And it doesn't have it by town, but it's kind of areas. So they click on the region of the state that they live in, or they're looking for a job. And then it has places around, the cluster that they're looking at. Another really cool thing on this website is when they click on that area, say they click on Columbia, and then they go to a specific, part in Columbia, it tells you where in that area there are public computers that you can use. So I thought that was really neat, part of this, because it has places that students will be able to, fill out job applications. And so that's a good thing for teachers to know too, because in the future, if their students are, in the community registering for things. And then of course it has all types of information on jobs, very specific to the areas of the students, what skills you need, what's the salary range. It's really, really cool because it's specific to South Carolina, and they update this website regularly. Right now, I was telling our team this morning, I went to the website last night, and right now, when you click on certain areas, it tells you within your region what places are actually still open and operating right now. And it gives you some exploring options to look at, places currently. But when we're not in the middle of a national, emergency, they update this website pretty frequently. And I mean, you see on the screenshot there, it tells you exactly how many jobs are available, how many people have been to the website this month. So they do a great job of keeping it updated with resources. So the next slide is the Midlands Education Business Alliance. We've shared about this resource a few different times. This is a really great resource that has been developed, and they have one of the most popular things on that website is something that's called Be a Part Guide. And so what a Be a Part Guide is it's, I want to be a part of a certain industry. So it's organized by cluster, like, automotive, food, etc. And each one of them is its own standing document that has all of the, labor market statistics, all the necessary skills for that specific career, what's the expected job growth, what is the salary range. And so it's a pretty thick, like, PDF download. And then another resource on the same exact topic are called career cards. And see, I think the career cards are something that we could, implement into like a scavenger hunt, where the student is looking at the different career cards, and they have to get information about specific things of the job. And it's like a quick overview of those things, and the students can get that information. Another part of that website in that same area is they have employer handbooks. And I know from having a teenage daughter that employee handbooks are quickly, thrown away or not looked at. But then when the kids are held accountable for specific things that are in the handbook, they didn't look at it or they say they didn't know. And so going through these, with the students is really important because, they're going to either have to watch videos or some type of human resource documentation. And so it's better for them to be prepared for that. And then if you want to go to the next slide, this shows you the bottom. I clicked on resources. The things that I just talked about are at the top of the page when you go there. And then at the bottom is this resource. And so each of these resources is, something different. You can see, the first one's how to do a career fair, how to plan it. All of these things are on there. One of the things that I think is really neat, and these are all kind of one-pagers. So like the employer expectation is a one-pager. The comparing school instructions, that one's really neat because, being on time for school, you might get a tardy if you're late. But if you're late for work, you could get written up and get fired. So it kind of compares school to work. And one of the other resources that is on this website that I think could be useful right now is you can find a person who has identified themselves as available. So let me explain what that means. So if you are looking at the clusters, and for example, a couple months ago, we had a kid in a transition assessment show that he was interested in working at a botanical garden. So the teacher was looking for, and I didn't know what a botanical garden was at the time, sadly. And the teacher was looking for resources because you can't really simulate every job in the classroom, as we know. And so we went on this website and dived into that cluster, and there are all these resources of places that, have, automotive or botanical garden or, these specific restaurants. Well, within that resource, there is a person's name and contact information. Well, they are on this portal because they have said, yes, they would love to help the school by doing a guest speaker or providing resources or do a telephone call. So I know when I was a teacher and I would call people and, wanted to tour their facility or get some information, they didn't always say yes, or they didn't always have time. So, these people have identified themselves as willing. So I think it's, you already have the contact information, and right now might be a great time to utilize some of those resources to get more information about their specific, industry or specific business that they have. In an online format would be a little easier, obviously, now than getting them into the classrooms. So the next slide is something new that we have been looking at recently. And so this is not a new resource, the Occupational Outlook Handbook. We've probably all been using this forever and ever and ever. And it has the occupation, the job summary, but something that's new, and you'll see it on the next slide, is each occupation has a video. And so so this one is specifically athletic trainer, because if I was gonna bet, I would bet every single person on this webinar today has a student or works with a student that is gonna play professional football next year or when they graduate. I can guarantee we all do. And so one thing that we do when we have professional athletes in our class is we talk about, what happens if this game plan doesn't work out for you? What if you don't get to play for the Carolina Panthers? What are other things you might be interested in sports? And so athletic training always gets thrown in as an option. Well, here we go. Here's all the things that you learn, what you have to do, the work environment. If you see the tabs across the top, one of the things you have to do to be an athletic trainer is you have to learn every single bone in the body. You have to take anatomy. You have to be pretty good at math. These are all things that, you have to do to become an athletic trainer. And then here's a video. And this video is not very long, but it's a component that, has been added to the handbook so that, there is a person the person who is exploring this also has a video. And I really love another option of this is similar occupations. If you see that tab at the top. So we've gone through this and we've watched the video and we've rated this as a thumbs down. This is not something I want to do. I'm not going to get a bachelor's degree. I hate blood. So absolutely out for me. Thumbs down. So then I have to go to similar occupations and I can look to see what is something else in this same cluster, because I am interested in athletic training and being around athletics, but I don't really think I could do this job. So then I can pick another one and then I go and look at those very specific things aligned with that. So this resource will be added to our virtual learning resource banner on our website, because this is a new thing that we, well, the videos are new to me. So I really love this, and it will be added. So now it is time for questions. And I know that oh no, we're going to watch this little video. And I know that I've probably missed things in the question box. So Mike, while you show your video, I am going to look in the chat box.
Yeah, I figured we'd give people who've tuned in something to look at while we go through the questions and hopefully answers. But this is a quick tutorial video representation of what you'll find when you enter the web page from the home page, and I'll loop it again. But it has all the documents and resources for the presentations and everything that we've mentioned here. Also has highlighted different resources from Horry County, assignments, Berkeley County, which is highlighted right now, is a long list of job shadow sites, virtual job shadowing sites that their teachers or any teacher can use. And so we graciously appreciate them sharing that resource with us for the good of our community here in South Carolina. Also, we invite you to share a resource. And so we've created this community thread where you can share your ideas and resources for the good of the group and start a conversation if you want with your peers around the state. And finally, we've reached out to several vendors, online curriculum platforms, and have received their updates for what is current and what discounts they're offering or what free resources they're giving to teachers during this time period. So with that, let's go ahead and start with any questions you have or that we can answer, Jennifer.
Okay, I think that a lot of the comments you guys have addressed. Yes, we will be posting all of this by tomorrow on our website. And yes, Tracy has shared, she was one of our participants on Tuesday. That was where the idea of sending home a transition assessment within your packet. And she has shared a resource. So we will add that to our virtual learning resources for the website. A question is, can educators see what students are doing on South Carolina Works? No, it's really, it's for anyone to go to look at. So we would need to create probably a worksheet or some type of online tool to use to gather the data that they're looking for or looking at. Another option that sports management is a great alternative to athletic training. Yes, Beth, that is a great idea. Let's see. Well, and I know that you guys are getting, emails, probably 100 or so a day of different resources. And I'm trying to go through the resources that are being shared to see how we could use those in transition. And I'll tell you about a resource that I found yesterday. And if there's questions, I will definitely answer them as they come in. But one of the resources I found yesterday, and I haven't mastered it obviously, but it's called Ed Puzzle, ED Puzzle. And you take any YouTube video, and you upload it to Ed Puzzle. And you insert questions. So the student would have to watch, the video. Well, the video stops until they answer the question, and then it starts again. So you actually can't move on until you answer the question. So yesterday I downloaded a video of job interview skills. And so I embedded questions within the video about an interview, if the student went on an interview. Really cool thing is it sends all of the data to the teacher. So if you send out this video and your multiple choice questions to your class or to your students, well, then the information they watched the video because they had to answer the questions because they're, inserted throughout, and that's all sent to you. Or within Edpuzzle, you can set up a classroom and all of that information is housed in that classroom online. And then the next cool part is the video that I downloaded had some real fun music and some photos, but it didn't read the words on the screen. And so I did voiceover so that I could, read. It said eye contact and be punctual and those type things. So I could read those things to the student, and that just was all part of Edpuzzle. And it was free. I registered. I immediately had access, and I told Mike that I'm going to do an Edpuzzle today. I'm going to try to do something around work experience just to show like how quick and easy. One of our participants on Tuesday was asking about, how can we get, some career exploration things. And so my mind went to, I could go visit a business and, video some components of what's going on and then upload it. And then I thought to myself, no, I can go to YouTube and I can find a video that's already been made. I can put it in Edpuzzle, and then I can add questions and my own voiceover. So I'm seeing a lot of really good uses of that. And so I'm going to work on that one today. But, as we find these resources, like we want to share them and put them in the virtual learning resource. If you guys know of a resource that we can use or something that you're looking for, please let us know. Like everyone that asked us Tuesday for specific things, we've looked for and reached out and found some resources for them. So please don't spend your time looking for things related to transition, because we have so many resources and, so many people that are here for you to support this work. And I rambled on about Edpuzzle. So is there any other questions? Anything specific you guys are looking for around work experience? And we shared on Tuesday that our state director, Becky Davis, met with the local leaders on Wednesday. So that information that has been shared on what's going on in our state, hopefully we'll be getting more information today, tomorrow, and hopefully some guidance on how we're going to do this specially designed instruction for our students around things. So when you are looking at the transition plans and looking at your IEP goals and feeling stressed about how you're going to do these things virtually, just remember we are here and want to help you. And we probably have a resource or can find a resource quickly. So please, please, please use us in our time to do that, because you have so many other things to be doing. Oh, wait, there's something in the Q&A. I'm sorry, I missed that. This is a great question, and I know who asked this. Anne, can any of the virtual activities be counted to the required hours of the South Carolina high school credential during this national emergency, since we cannot complete the school-based enterprise? So I do not have an official answer to that question, because that would have to be, maybe a waiver of some sort or district decision. But I feel like that this is going to be information that the directors are sharing with you, but I cannot imagine that you would be accountable for, I think that the students could do some of these virtual activities to count towards those hours. They would have to make some type of accommodation for that requirement. So I feel like, once the information from the state office comes to the district level, you guys are going to get more information about that. And if not, reach back out and we can definitely ask that specific question, because since South Carolina high school credential is so new and not a large population across the state, this may not have been something that, they discussed. And so we'll be glad to reach out and ask if it's not already been discussed. Has anyone heard anything about that? I don't know if districts have dispersed any information. I know this is, building a plane as we fly it.
Well, already in the in the matrix of the credential, best practice of the 360 work-based learning hours, 25% can be activities that include virtual job shadowing. And I'm not sure if that question is beyond the ninth grade classroom or employability 1 or 2. Can this be used to augment, school-based enterprise or obviously experiences that they're not going to currently receive? And that is a question. If that's the question, then that is a question we will need to get guidance on.
Perfect. I mean, it is in the matrix about virtual job shadowing. So I'm thinking that definitely, the next question says, along with the South Carolina credential hours question, can we create a work log with parents who assign their students tasks at home to go along with their goals and guidance? I think that's a great question. I actually saw a resource yesterday where a teacher had put together task at home, and she already assigned the minutes, because she said that, the mom could say that Johnny spent 8 hours raking the leaves because she wanted him outside all day. So then he gained 8 hours of work in one day, when we know it doesn't take 8 hours to rake leaves. But, making your bed, preparing meals, those type things. And the teacher had already put the minutes in there. I'll see if I can get my hands on that. But I think that, that's a great question. And honestly, that may differ district to district on, specific guidance on what logs to use with parents and families. But I'm thinking the state will definitely give guidance about, can we document for the high school credential? And I think that, I heard the analogy yesterday that this ship that we are on has been going one direction for 60 years, since, the first Education Act for students with disabilities. We've gone in one direction, and we're being asked to turn in a completely different direction quickly. And so I think that there's a lot of questions that we're all going to have, and it's not going to have quick answers. And we just have a good faith effort that we are meeting the needs of our students. And I didn't say this at the beginning of this webinar, but it's very important that you take care of yourself. Like, self-care and wellness is so very important right now. And one of the tips that we shared was to not look at social media, not to watch TV, get away from the coronavirus for just a little while, because it becomes overwhelming and you start thinking about things. And so, whatever it is, we have spent a lot of time in transition. I definitely do it where I talk about how important independent living is. And so the two components of independent living that we teach our students are recreation and leisure. And so make sure that you are practicing what you preach there, because you've got to take care of yourselves and your families.
Okay, if there are not any other questions, thanks, Jennifer. Well, this will conclude today's webinar. We hope you'll continue to share your resources and solutions with others and with us. And lastly, Jennifer will be back on Thursday, April 30th with a webinar on free curriculum resources to promote student engagement and self-determination. That Zoom registration is currently full, but that webinar will also be broadcast live on the Transition Alliance of South Carolina's website. Thanks, everyone.